met Kelly going back, be a couple of years ago now in Sri Lanka, and I really wanted to introduce her to you guys. Kelli Lawton is a chartered accountant, and in Sri Lanka we met for the first time at a retreat.
Yes.
2023, I think it was, something like that.
Something like that.
And then last year I bumped into Kelly again at the Movers and Breakers conference, which was in Bali, actually, which Movers and Breakers is put on by Business Chicks. So if you haven't seen that before, go and have a look at Business Chicks at their network. It's a fabulous network. It's a really good one.
Yes.
And Kelly is here with me today because we have just spent the most beautiful 3 days together, getting to know each other even more.
We have.
So many tips and tricks. Like for my small business, I just can't believe it. And I just said to Kelly, would you be happy to be interviewed and share all of your tips and tricks, or as many as we can think of, for the travel industry? And of course, you guys as travel agency business owners, some of this stuff is really, really important for you to know. And I love being creative, but the numbers, oh my goodness, I could literally, if I didn't have to do the numbers, I would just be so happy. Realistically, I have to know numbers.
You do.
And Kelly has really drummed that into me these last few days. But what's really important is just some things that maybe I hadn't considered before for my business, and that I do need to work, as we all know, on our business. We're great at working in our business when it comes to doing the things we love. Like for me, it's creating training programs and training, you guys. But I do need to spend a day a week just working on my business, or whatever that looks like. For some people, it's more than a day a week on the admin stuff, but not just the admin, also on the finances of my business. So I would like to introduce you to Kelli Lawton. She's a chartered accountant who is a partner at Cosgrave Soutter. Is that right? Have I pronounced that correctly?
Yes, Cosgrave Soutter.
Cosgrave Soutter. And it's a chartered accounting firm in Canberra, working with small to medium-sized business owners, providing assistance in taxation, accounting, and really any kind of business matters. So I would love, Kelly, for you to share with my audience on what kinds of things that they should be looking out for when it comes to numbers for their business.
Yeah. Thanks, Sonia, and thanks for the opportunity to have a chat to your audience about all things tax, finance, and managing your business. As Sonia said, she doesn't like dealing with numbers.
No, I do not.
That's not uncommon. I deal with a lot of small businesses, and particularly female business owners who are a bit scared of the numbers and don't really understand what they're looking at, and they just think, well, I'm going to do my business and I want other people to worry about that. I don't really understand.
And it's also, sorry to interrupt you, I was just thinking it's where our passion is, right?
Correct.
So our passion for the travel agency business owners, their passion is booking their clients and creating those beautiful holidays.
Exactly.
It's not on keeping receipts or, all that kind of stuff.
That's right.
So
that's right. And it is tricky. But I guess the most important thing is not to be afraid of it. A lot of people just go, it's a big dark box of numbers and I don't want to look at that. But really, they're just numbers on a page or numbers on a screen. They're not scary. I think the biggest tip that I can give you and your audience is to gain an understanding and put some time in to learn what the numbers mean, and to use your accountants and your bookkeepers as your partners, not as someone that does something for you as a separate side thing, but they're my partners in my business. If you're visiting your accountant or seeing your accountant or catching up with your bookkeeper, ask them questions. Ask them, what does this mean? Or why are we doing this? Or how do I do this? If they're explaining something to you, don't walk away thinking, oh, I kind of get it, but I don't. Ask the questions. And there's no question that it's a silly question. And there's no question about tax or finances or business that your accountant hasn't been asked before. Because if you don't understand it, probably a lot of other small business people don't either.
Yeah, that's great advice. I mean, often we just kind of dump it all on the accountant and just go, you know what, you do your thing and I will just do what I do in my business, and then not really get involved in that whole process. But I suppose, how do we then know they're doing the job that we need them to be doing for our business?
Correct.
And you know, with all this budget stuff that's been happening recently, I don't get a lot of it. I'm also not paying a lot of attention because it's not legislation yet. So I'm actually, if we talk about the circles of control, I can't control that right now. So I'm only going to just do what I can control in my business right now.
That's right. And one of the things you can control is your reporting. You can control maximising the capturing of your expenses and monitoring those. And we have so much available now to help us with that.
What would that look like?
So gone are the old days when you'd go to your accountant with a shoebox full of receipts, you expect them to rifle through
Have you looked in my cupboard?
Yeah.
Because I've got a shoebox.
Or in the glove box. That's also really common is
yeah.
people just pull all these receipts out from their glove boxes. So those days are gone. We don't need to use paper anymore, and you can actually make your accountant a really happy accountant by capturing all this data. And the software is amazing. So the big ones, of course, Xero, MYOB, and there are other smaller ones. Work with what you're comfortable with. Don't feel that I have to use this software because that's what my accountant says I have to use. I don't understand it. I don't like it. If you're not happy with what you're using, talk to them. But you can find something that works for you in all different scalabilities. So obviously, as I said, the big ones are MYOB and Xero. And then both of those actually have apps where you can capture your receipts on the go.
Oh, okay.
So utilising the technology that's available. I know lots of travel agents do familiarisation trips and they're travelling, or they're accompanying clients on tours and things like that. And you're constantly spending money. You don't want to come home from a trip with a wad of receipts. It's just more clutter. And then you might lose them. So it's very easy. Get back to your room at night and take the photos of the receipts and pop them in the app, and they'll go into your accounting software.
And then do you guys then sort that out, or what does a travel agency owner then do with that?
Yeah, so once it's in your software, so in the various software, they often will have a file that it's sitting in, an upload file, or Xero, they have something called HubDoc, which is included in your Xero subscription.
Okay.
That basically, HubDoc actually feeds it through to Xero and does a bit of smart matching, I believe. But basically, you then have your bank feeds in the accounting software. You allocate where that goes, and we'll come back and talk about how that is actually evolving at the moment. But you can actually attach your receipt quite easily to each transaction.
Okay.
So where that makes your accountant's life easier, or your bookkeeper's life easier, or even your life easier if you're doing your own BAS, is you can quickly look in and all the documentation's there. If you get questions from the tax office about your BAS or your tax return, the information's all captured. You're not scrounging around trying to find, where did I put that receipt? All in one spot.
Okay. So, but they need to have obviously some kind of software to then have that on their phone, to be able to have that mobile with them wherever they're travelling, whatever they're doing.
But there are other ways to do it. If you don't want to do it that way, and this is what I do personally, I would take a photo of that receipt. Receipts fade, you lose them. I'll take a photo and then I'll email it to myself.
Okay.
And I just have a folder in my email and I call it tax. And I just move those emails across into my tax folder.
Yep.
So when I come to do tax things, I just jump in that folder and move things across, or save them or print them, depending on how you want to do it. But they're all there. Or you can just attach all that to an email and send it off to your accountant.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So there are simple ways. And so when it comes down to you helping small business, medium-sized business owners, business owners, what do you work with them on? Like, do you help them through this process, or are you literally just the number cruncher? I apologise for making this sound really, really simple, but do you just do the number crunching and then go, here you go? Or are you actually helping these people understand all of this?
It all depends what a client will need. So for some clients, they need a full service. They want us to do their bookkeeping, they want us to do their BAS, they want us to do their tax return, and if they're in a structure, their financial statements. And that's fine, I can do that, absolutely. But some clients and some people, and I highly recommend this, they like to take control and take ownership and understand it. So generally, especially with my really small businesses and micro businesses and initial startups, where you don't want to be incurring large professional services fees regularly, you want to do it yourself. The way I would work with a client is generally say to them, let me have a look at it. I'll do your first BAS. Then how about we do the next BAS together? And then after that, have a go on your own. If you get stuck, I'm here to help. And so working as a team and to grow the agent or the client's knowledge, and it helps you understand your business. That's not to say that just because you start off doing your BAS, you should always do your BAS.
Okay.
It might be that initially when you're small, you do it yourself. You don't have the budget to be paying a few $100 or $1,000 or whatever a quarter. But over time, if your business evolves, you need to start working out, where is my time best spent?
Sure, yep, I understand.
If I'm spending all day, every day, doing my bookings, dealing with my clients, I then don't want to spend my night times doing this because my time is valuable.
Sure, yep.
It's a common trap that we fall into where we don't place a value on our own time, where you then identify, well, it might make sense to get a bookkeeper in for half a day a week or half a day a fortnight or whatever you need to just do that basic processing for you. And then it goes to the accountant at the end of the year.
And so are we paying, though, when we pick up the phone, are we paying the minute that we talk to you, Kelly, or I know, sorry, I had to ask the question.
It all depends on the arrangement that you have with your accountant. So there's some out there that work on a fixed fee basis, so you pay X amount of dollars, and that's the package that you get. There's some, and we tend to work this way, we charge based on time taken to do work. So if you pick up the phone to me and we have a 30-second conversation, I'm generally not going to charge you for that.
Yeah, okay.
But if you pick up the phone to me and we have a detailed conversation and I need to do some research, yes, there's a fee associated with that. It all comes down to the arrangement you have with your accountant. And sometimes bookkeepers are a cheaper option as well for those really simple bookkeeping questions or to do that processing. And some accounting firms will have a bookkeeping function. Do you
guys have a bookkeeping function inside the business?
Yes, so we do bookkeeping for our clients as well. But in saying that, we'll also reach out and say, hey, we actually don't think it's economical for us to be doing this. How about I refer you to this bookkeeper I know, and they'll be able to do it at a more cost-effective basis. So it's all about, as an accountant, working out what's the best outcome for your client, because that's what we want. We want you guys to succeed in your business. We want to see you taking that next step. We want to work with you to get there. And as you grow, provide that extra service. So as a small or a micro business, you probably don't need things like cash flow forecasts and detailed budgeting and over-the-top analysis of your business. But what you will need, or you might need as a quarterly basis, go, hey, I've looked at your reports, I've looked at your BAS, and have you looked at this? It just looks a bit unusual. Or you seem to be spending a lot of money on this one particular expense item. Have you thought about whether that makes sense?
So also kind of giving them professional business advice as well.
Exactly. And also taking that next level. So we talk to a lot of people who are starting out, and they start out as a sole trader. And that's a cheap, easy way to start your business. It's very cost effective. A lot of people might suck it and see, let's just start, see where it goes. And especially if you're just stepping out from working in a big corporate agency, you think, no, I'm going to do this on my own. You're kind of doing it from your bedroom. You don't want to go and spend thousands of dollars setting up complex structures to operate your business in. But then identifying, okay, we're now at this point. Does it make sense to move to a company or a trust? Though trusts obviously are going to be subject to what comes out of the budget. Does it make sense to move there now? How can we do that in a tax-effective way? Or do we just stay as we are? So just continuing to provide that advice as your business evolves, but tailoring that to where you are.
I absolutely love that, because for many of you guys, you may be home-based travel agency owners, brand new, not necessarily brand new at being travel agents, but you certainly could be brand new at bringing that business into the home and reducing your costs, and for the first time running your own business, and all of a sudden there's all these elements to a business, whether it's marketing, finance, we know how to be travel agents, but now how do we do the rest of it? And helping those individual home-based owners kind of know what to do. It takes the daunting side of the unknown, I suppose, out of it by having an organisation like yours or someone like yourself who is very relatable, and we can sit down together and kind of look at the the books. And a disclaimer here, I mean, you're not my accountant.
No, I'm not Sonia's accountant.
So that's it. And of course, all the advice today, guys, is absolutely just a conversation. You know, you really do need to go and see your own bookkeeper, accountant for professional advice. I think that's probably fair to say, isn't it?
That's really fair. I just want to actually pick up on something that you were talking about, which is taking your business to home and working from home. And one of the things to be really mindful about is the tax consequences of moving your business into home and what that actually looks like and what you're claiming. And that is definitely a conversation that you need to have with your accountant is, I'm working from home, I'm working out of a bedroom. What can I claim in relation to that? And then following from that, what implications does this have if I sell my house?
Right.
So just being really mindful of that next step and not creating a problem for yourself that you're not aware of. Like if you know at the outset that I'm going to start working from home, I'm actually even going to see clients in my home, I've got a separate entrance, I've got an office set up, I've got a sign out the front. What does that look like as opposed to don't see any clients, I operate in a back bedroom, it's all over the phone. What are the differences in the tax treatment there? And there is a difference. And understanding that before you go too far down the track and there are potential capital gains tax ramifications when you sell your home.
That's, you know, we talked a little bit about that yesterday, and that kind of, we got into a rabbit hole, I think, about that, didn't we, yesterday in a conversation. And it's interesting because I think of you guys out there, the agents that I've trained, and some of you have gone off and are now building literally a more client-friendly environment where, you know, they've changed the room that they're consulting out of, and now clients can actually come into the home, and that's fascinating. And I you know, from my perspective, I get all excited about all of that that kind of stuff, you know. But then, of course, there's some of you that are just video calls and phone calls only. And so I'd never thought about the tax implications of now your primary residence being somewhere where now you're running a business. But now you are really running a business because now it's become almost like a shop front.
Well, it's called place of business. So you've got is your home now a place of business versus a home office.
Right.
And the tax treatment is different. So it is important to understand that. I won't go down the rabbit hole of the differences and all that sort of thing.
I reckon that was about a 2-hour conversation yesterday, so we won't impose that on them today.
Yeah. So I think it's definitely something, though, as you are going down that path, and also understanding what you need to do for record keeping and substantiation to be able to claim the running costs of working from home. So what do you actually need to do to support that claim? And there's a couple of different methods and keywords to talk about are the hourly rate versus the actual method, and they're things to talk to your accountant about and find out, do they have things like a log for you to record your hours that you can use then to substantiate the claim if you're working from home and you want to claim the hourly rate? Or do they have a formula where you can work out electricity and things like that? What do they have to help you? Do they have a flyer explaining it to you?
Or an FAQs, you know, all those frequently asked questions that I'm sure home-based travel agents would be tackling, and I imagine it would be there'd be a lot of questions in the back of your mind about this, and I just don't want to kind of assume that it's all okay. Like I actually just want to know it's okay, and because I don't sleep at night if I'm assuming.
No,
because then I'm questioning myself all the time. And then I procrastinate. It becomes a thing on my to-do list that keeps going down the to-do list. Yeah. And it worries me. And I think, you know, as a person who runs their own business, there are things that if we don't know or understand, it starts to really worry us.
That's right. And there's things also that you need to talk to your accountant about in terms of what can you actually claim when you're doing familiarisation trips? What can you actually claim if you're accompanying clients on some of these trips, doing a hosting type role as well, which is becoming more and more common as we as agents divert into the areas of interest. I think we were talking about textiles tours over the weekend as well, and what that sort of thing looks like too. And your accountant may not know everything off the cuff, and in fact that's a sign of a good accountant if they say, that's a great question, let me go and double check or have a look and I'll come back to you. Because often a client will ask me a question and I know the answer, but I want to make sure that I'm right. That's not saying they're not a good accountant.
Okay.
That's them actually saying, I want to give you the spot on right answer, and there is so much grey in tax that giving them the time to make sure that they are telling you correctly is important. So understanding just because they say, I'll come back to you, doesn't mean they don't know. It means they want to make sure you're having the right answer.
Fabulous. Kelli, it's been such a fun conversation, like even just a short one today. Thank you for sharing this great advice with my audience, and you know, if there's any other things that you can offer, where can people find you?
So I could be found on our website, which is www.cosgravesoutter.com.au. Also, I'm on LinkedIn, so I can be found there as well. Happy to help. Always happy to have an initial chat with people and or to point you in the right direction. And you know, it's not an unusual thing to be talking to someone and asking why they're moving or looking for a new accountant and pointing out, well, actually, your current accountant's okay. Go back and ask them that. So, and also always happy to just have that initial point you in the right direction conversation as well.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Do you have clients all over Australia?
I do.
Because these guys are all over Australia.
Yeah, so I deal with clients across the country and also internationally as well. There's a lot of Australian expats floating around who still have Australian tax matters to deal with.
Yep.
But yes, totally across Australia. Life's so easy now with
true.
Teams and phones and everything, email. It's a very different world from 20 years ago.
Yeah, they don't need to be in Canberra.
No, definitely not.
Such. Yeah,
No.
fantastic. Well, thank you again. Hopefully there's some great tips and just little things that might spark your thinking as far as, I do need to talk to my accountant about that, or I don't even have an accountant, so my goodness, I need to go and get one. But you know, like I always say to you guys when I'm doing training sessions, what is really important is to find that specialist, that person in that profession that can help you, like a plumber for plumbing, and an electrician for electrician, and we go to a dentist for dentistry.
Correct.
A hairdresser to cut my hair.
That's right.
You know, we go to an accountant for our numbers. Right. And so even then, just learning with you on how to run our business and what those numbers mean,
absolutely,
I think is just so important.
It is. And remember, your accountant is your partner.
Right, yeah.
So work with them in a partnership.
Yeah, I love that. Work with them in a partnership.
Correct.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
It's been pleasure.
Yeah, it's been really lovely. All right, until next time, I'm not sure who the next guest will be that I run into, but thank you, Kelli, very much for today.
Thanks, Sonia.